Welcome to another Demarcation Media Mega Construx review. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Halo Infinite Defense Point Showdown set. This is kind of the large set of the first wave that hit stores. The Pelican was the kind of ultimate huge set of the Halo Infinite wave, but this is the one that kind of was the big set first. So let's take a quick look at the box, and the box is actually fairly large. It's kind of barely fitting in my studio once again. And this set is very interesting for a couple reasons. First of which is we get a new Master Chief who has some like sand and dirt detail. Like this whole area is set in a sand kind of dirt canyon area, which is pretty cool. And we have a new named character, which is also very cool. There's all the characters down there. There's the alternate build, which is kind of strange, but we'll look at that in another video. You can see the characters around the side. And then on the back, Hyperius. We still don't really know who he is, except for the fact that he's working with Atriox. Got weapons, and we got a jump pack, a communications pack, gravity hammer, a bolt action rifle, even though it's only called rifle, assault rifle, plasma pistol, and some shots for the big cannon itself. And another look at the alternate build. So let's just go ahead and open this. Will they make it easy for us? That is the question. Hey, kind of. Oh my. Okay. There is all of our parts. Here's the instruction book. I like the design of the Halo Infinite instruction books. It's very toned down. Looks very nice. Here's all the figures. I'm not gonna open all of these bags on camera because they're all numbered, and this is a larger set. So just piling them into a big lump would be kind of difficult. So let me get this built, and then we'll take a closer look. There it is, all built up. All the figures are built, and our Mongoose is built as well. The build of this set was kind of a little tedious because you have to build the same assembly almost 3 times for the legs before getting to the body of the kind of center section here. And then the gun was the only part that wasn't kind of super repetitive. It wasn't a long build, but it wasn't the most fun either. So before we take a look at the turret, and before we take a look at the figures too, this is all the extras. Like, you get a ton of extras, some of which are specialized parts from the Mongoose. So that's kind of strange. I'm not sure why Mega has been including so many extras lately. But, I mean, it's extra parts, so I'm not going to complain. It's just a little odd to me. So let's go ahead and take a look at those figures. Our first figure is a red Grunt Imperial, who is labeled as Grunt Assault in this set. And this dude is the exact same as the blind bag grunts, except in red. And personally, I think this red actually looks better than the orange, mainly because the head color actually matches, whereas the orange is slightly lighter. That's just a really nice figure overall. The red, like I said, it matches so much better. The print on the head is great. He's got a plasma pistol. There's the back. No print or anything on his harness, just these stud pieces to kind of break up the red. And this dude's head did not come all stuck. And so that, in my opinion, makes this figure a win. Next up is a UNSC Marine, and look at all of that gear. Got an assault rifle, 2 leg straps, a grenade, a little pouch on the one side, a communications backpack, and this is actually a female, and she has a darker skin tone, which is pretty cool. That head is pretty good. You know what? Let me actually get in a little closer so you can see that head. There's the visor of the helmet. That's applied pretty well. Print around the back. And then pop that off. It looks like some of the white kind of got into the pupil of her eye a bit. This eye over here. So it gives her a blind look in one eye, which is interesting and kind of cool, but not intentional. Other than that, though, that's a nice head for, again, for being so small. I mean, look at that. It's a tiny, tiny little thing. Mega has really, really upped their game with the figure faces. Next up is the Chief himself, and he comes armed with one of these rifles that have been called shock rifles. They've been labeled volt action rifles, whatever they are. Another one appears here. That's his weapon. And you get an extra clip in this set, in with all the pile of extras, so I just used that to attach it to his back. And then, yes, this is yet another Halo Infinite Master Chief. But this time, this guy's actually a little different because he has this brown kind of dirt dust print going up his legs, and then he has spots of it around, kind of on the chest, slightly on the arm, a little bit around the back. It's very subtle most places except for his feet, but that's really unique. I actually really like this. This is definitely a Chief that is worth getting, even if you have a couple others. And the head on this one is pretty well done. Visor is pretty good. The gray here and kind of for the nose section is a little on the light side. Kind of could have used a little bit more there. But overall, they did a good job. And the kind of dust look is something that we really haven't seen on Mega figures, and I really like it. And last but certainly not least, we have the main kind of bad guy of the set. This is Hyperius. And look at that face. That is completely terrifying. He has a jump pack, which I have found does not like to stay in place. It just kind of spins around and is loose, even though it has a huge peg. And the peg actually has some stress marks around the edge of it. So I was not really impressed with the jump pack. Like, the piece is great. It looks super cool, but it just kind of wobbles around all the time, and that gets annoying. But we'll take that off for now. Take a look at the back. Not a ton going on with the back. His weapon is this beautiful gravity hammer. Look at all that print. This is Heroes level print for this weapon. That's fantastic. And then the Brute himself is honestly, whoops. I'm ripping him apart. He looks almost Heroes level. Almost. He could have used maybe a little more print around the back, but this dude is so intimidating looking. And actually, let me get closer so that you can really see what we're dealing with here. Alright, now we can get a closer look at him. And it seems his leg does kind of like to come off a little easily, but that's probably just a vague molding error. So, on his torso, we have some red print up here, and then we have kind of just silver highlights on the edges. Not much to it, but it's like, it really brings out the detail. That's a nice effect. Got some more silver on his kind of groin armor skirt. This leg armor is interesting. I think this is new for this Brute in particular. I have not seen it anywhere else. Has some markings on it. This side is just the same as a bunch of the other brutes. Printed armor for the feet. And he has the feet that stick. So we can put them actually on studs and it will stay. So that's nice. I'm really glad that they're not phasing the old feet out completely. And yeah, that's Locke's helmet, or what's left of it, as a trophy on this guy's arm. I don't know about everybody else, but I personally am a big fan of Locke, and the idea of him being killed off in Halo Infinite is a very sad one to me. But I'm hoping that maybe he just defeated Locke and took his helmet and did not kill him. And then his helmet has some orangish hair coming out the back, giving off kind of Ganondorf vibes. He's got like a bony jaw. I saw some people saying that his helmet looks like Palmer's helmet, but that doesn't make sense to me. That looks nothing like Palmer's helmet. Oh, hey, look. Hyperius is actually just Craig. All right, let's move on to the builds, and we're going to start with the Mongoose here. And this Mongoose is identical to the one found in the Recon Getaway set, down to the last detail. Everything is exactly the same. It's built exactly the same. It's just directly ported over. And that kind of seems a little lazy, except for the fact that now we have a uniform Mongoose design, and if you buy the Recon Getaway, you won't end up with a different one when you buy this set. And, you know, I think that was a good choice on Mega's part. It's a good design, it works well, and having, you know, a little troop of them is really not a bad thing. And there is the turret itself, the defense point for which this set is named. And for kind of a sense of scale, let's drop in the Warthog from the Warthog Run set, and then also the Mongoose. Kind of gives you a sense of how big this thing is. It's pretty sizable. There is really no controls on this, so I'm assuming this is a remote control kind of thing, because there's no place to like sit the grunt or whatever to have him control the gun. But the gun can spin full 360, and it can elevate upward to about there. Kind of gets caught a little bit as it turns, but it can still turn that way. It cannot go down at all, which makes sense since it's a anti-aircraft turret. And then we have on each of the feet, which, by the way, the feet are kind of loose, so you can set that on kind of uneven surface and it'll still stay. And then on each leg we have, I guess, what's the power cell for the turret. So kind of the idea of the set is Chief would come in and try to get rid of the power cells to make the gun stop shooting, since we saw in the trailer for Halo Infinite these things downed Brohammer's Pelican. So you can come up and hit this. Come on. Well, in theory, let's try again with this one. There we go. In theory, you hit these tabs and it blows the power cell off. And now the turret stops working and you can safely fly away again. The gun itself is completely lined with see-through red bricks on the inside, and it gives us really cool effect. Kind of almost makes it look like a rail gun. Then we got some more see-through pieces here. And then at the end, we actually have a gun. Like, we can actually fire some stuff off. So if you press this, then that goes flying. You get a handful of these to use. The extras are stored underneath the barrel. And that was not a necessary thing for them to add, but it works and it doesn't mess up the build at all, so I'm glad they included it. We get a printed piece here, printed piece there, and just some more detail on this side. And then we get a printed piece on this side and on that side. And then there's just a little bit of detailing around the back of the gun. And there's plenty of spaces to stick figures on if you want to have them battling it out kind of on top of the turret here. Or I guess you could even put them all the way on top like that. That probably wouldn't be a good idea for them, but you can kind of put them down here. So, you know, you've got plenty of display options for this. And like I showed earlier, if you have an uneven surface, you can just move these around and it'll still keep it straight. Or I guess you could make it look broken too. One thing that did surprise me was the fact that these legs are asymmetrical. I kind of thought they would be evenly spaced out over, you know, have one over here, one over here, one over here. So we kind of have a triangle, but they're not. And it's, I don't know, it's not really consequential overall, but it was just kind of surprising to me that it wasn't even. So you actually have to kind of position it so you have a front and a back. All right, well, that is the Halo Infinite Defense Point Showdown. Overall, I think this set kind of falls in the middle of all the sets that have been released so far for the Infinite line of stuff. It's not bad, but it's not as standout as some of the other ones have been. It's kind of a solid starter set. You get Chief, who is a unique version of Chief and looks very good, one Marine, and then we get Hyperius and one Grunt. So we kind of have the big good guy, the big bad guy, and then two Grunts from either side. You have a good even battle. The Banished get the turret, UNSC gets the little Mongoose, and it's just pretty solid all around. Hyperius obviously is a figure that a lot of people are going to want to get. And then having a big build for the Banished is nice, and the turret looks very good. It works well, but it was just kind of tedious to build. But now we have to talk about the price, because the price is all over the place. So I got this at Target, and if you went into the store and bought this right off the shelf, it would be $80. I really don't think $80 is worth it for this set. If you go online, then it's closer to like 60 or 70. 60, I think, is good. And they happen to be running a sale, so I was able to get this set for $50, and I think that's a good price. 50 or 60, excellent price. 70 or 80, that's a little much, especially since we only get 4 figures. So overall, it's a solid set. It's definitely worth some attention, but it's not the top of all of these new sets. There are definitely others that have kind of excelled, whereas this one is just solid. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.